Because we're live. Hey, hi everyone. We're live, not muted. Everything is fine. Not really. Need to get the
it's all good.
donation goal out of the way. Now everything's fine. Thank you. I am Simon, Wandering DM. Hi, this is our channel. Welcome to Pulp Cthulhu, welcome to Go West, a Pulp Cthulhu campaign. Let's just go around the table and introduce ourselves real quick. Who are we playing? I'm going to be playing George Brooke, the deputy. Oh, yeah, I should name someone. We'll go with our local priest. Local priest, who are you?
My name is Quentin, and I am going to be playing the local priest, Father Boris Makarov. Dr. Andrews.
Cool, we'll go with Dr. Andrews next.
So I'm sadly playing Dr. Drake Anders, who's not quite insane, but getting there very slowly. And then I guess that leaves us Miss Maisie.
Hi, and I'm Kelly. I play Maisie Coldwater, who is the current purveyor at the Coldwater General Store, taking over after her mom and pappy. And she missed a lot of interesting events last week, so she's been quietly hanging out at home, kind of resting and recharging. She's doing pretty well, ready to take some hits this week.
Good.
And that leaves us with our keeper, for our bounty hunter isn't here today. So go ahead, keeper. The mic is yours.
Well, good evening, y'all. Welcome back to Four Corners, New Mexico territory. Last week, we had ourselves a fine day. Well, I did. Apparently some other folk weren't so lucky. After escaping the mines, Dr. Anders managed to get June, the bounty hunter, Miss June Chan, to a local ranch run by a person that Miss June was friendly with, one Miss Robin Banks. And, well, apparently God done spoke to the priest and told him that June was in trouble and needed his assistance. So the priest appropriated the deputy to go see what was going on. Along the way, they managed to find another resident of Four Corners, a gentleman by the name of Mr. Clarence Williams, who apparently worked occasionally at Lady Goodnight's house of rest. They managed to make it to the ranch where some folk had a few experiences, it would be fair to say. But that's not where we are right now. Right now, well, it's just about evening. Well, it's a few hours after dusk, actually, after nightfall. The doctor and the priest had borrowed Mrs. Banks's wagon. She was quite firm about the fact that she wanted it back in exactly the condition she lent it to you in, so that they could manage to transport a still unconscious, although currently rousing, Miss June Chan, and a rather battered deputy. Deputy, how did you get in that situation? You look rather worse the wear.
I melee attacked a monster with a Molotov cocktail. Because we couldn't risk the chance of, missing it and having it deal more damage. So in a heroic act of I should have thought twice, George picked up a bottle of alcohol filled with a rag, lit it on fire, and then I proceeded to whack the beastie over the head with it. And I burnt half my body on, got second-degree burns all over my face. And there was a rat person that kept gnawing at me, but I think that was more an annoyance than anything. I might be feverish. I had nightmares, and I drank a lot, and I lost blood. So
Yeah, you're looking rather poorly. But as you all get to town to start making your way to your personal abodes, there's a light on in the jail, deputy. And there's a horse hitched outside.
Father, doctor, am I seeing things?
No, George, you're not seeing anything. There's someone at the sheriff's office.
Is it because Mr. Covington finally got free?
I certainly hope not.
Can one of you help me prop myself up? I'm gonna go check on whoever that is.
And I'll help George down.
I'm gonna be fine, doctor. I just need a crutch. Try not to get on my burnt side.
Which would be your...
That would
which means the doctor is going to be supporting your weapon hands, sir.
Yeah.
As we established that you were intelligent enough not to smash a burning Molotov cocktail on something you couldn't see with your weapon hand.
I need my trigger finger.
Mm-hmm. So as you help the deputy down and approach the jail, Pearl Goodnight comes out to the wagon and just starts snapping her fingers and getting her people to help her move June inside. There seems to be a small domestic going on about whether or not June's going to walk herself upstairs or she's going to get supported up the stairs. I've got odds on Lady Goodnight on that one, just throwing that out there. But as you approach the door of the jail, it's cracked open. You can see the light burning, and you see a figure both of you actually recognize quite well sitting in the behind the desk.
Who would that be?
That would be your boss, sir, Sheriff Stephen Covington.
Oh. Now, Dr. Anders, would you mind removing my hat?
I'll politely grab George's hat and remove it.
Thank you very much.
And looking around, you'll notice that while Sam is still laid up in the side cell, the rest of the Bradford boys are no longer here. But Joshua Covington is still in a jail cell.
I'm gonna look at his uncle and just say, I see you recognize a villain when you see one, sir. Mighty good idea to keep Joshua in here. He tried to pummel a representative of the law.
I was kind of wondering why he was in there. His excuse was that you were interfering with his romantic relationships, which I don't really believe that, George. So what exactly happened? Hello, Doctor.
Mr. Covington?
And he kind of... Have you ever seen that... I'm sure you've all seen that dad look of like, explain to me exactly what's going on. Shortly, concisely. I'm not mad yet, but I'm getting there.
Sir, what would you like to know first? The reason why your nephew was in jail? Or, this? And I motioned to my burnt scars and burnt clothes.
That I'm gonna assume was in the line of duty. That...
It was, sir.
Pointing. Did you deal with it?
I certainly did. The bank's ranch suffered minor losses in materials, but everything is fine.
Well, I'm sure Ezekiel will come tell me exactly what happened later. But...
Yeah.
And you see Joshua's kind of glaring at you. and turns to look at the doc and glares at him as well.
Well, yeah, as far as why your nephew is in jail, that's because during a all-out bar brawl after the funerals of poor old Ted Bradford, he lunged at me and tried to dislocate my jaw with a punch. I recall it being a right hook. And as I was on duty that day, and I was trying to get the crowd to calm down, which, by the way, Mrs. Coldwater helped a lot with this. We ought to thank her. Well, he punched a representative of the law that was on duty, so I had to do something. And since he never apologized, then he just kept throwing me some mean looks and not so witty repartee while he was in jail. I thought it best to keep him in here until he learned his lesson.
Useful, that. Well then, Joshua, it appears that you, have a date with the court.
Oh my, sir.
And as he turns to say that, I need the deputy to make me a dodge roll at disadvantage.
What the fuck, sir? Dodge roll at disadvantage.
Well, you're still majorly wounded.
It's a fail.
Yep, you failed. I'm sorry. And as you do that, go to say something to respond to the sheriff, his comment about keeping Joshua in jail, a knife comes out of the air, leaving actually Joshua Covington's hand and stabbing you in your unfortunately slightly wounded shoulder.
That piece of shit.
And you hear a gun go off, Doc, as the sheriff shoots his nephew in the shoulder. Very, very targetedly, actually. This sound is heard throughout the town. Everybody hears this gun go off. Deputy, I need you to roll me a luck roll.
Yes, sir, ma'am. Luck roll without any advantages or whatever, just straight luck.
Just straight.
I'm
unconscious.
Wait, I'm counting. 10, 11. Yeah, okay, sure. I'm not gonna burn all of my luck with it on that. If it's just I'm gonna stay unconscious.
You're unconscious at the moment.
Oh.
Maisie and Father, you definitely hear that gunshot. It's quiet on the street. You see the mud that was there, but Father, you're probably like right there. You heard that gunshot go off. Doc, which patient do you want to approach?
I'll tend to George first, as he's the closer to me, and I'll tell Mr. Covington to get in there and make sure he doesn't have any more weapons, and put some pressure on that shoulder. I'll be with him in a minute, and
he can stay in there. I'll stay out here, and he's just pointing the gun at Josh.
I'd rather the little shit didn't bleed out, so do make sure that...
He's not gonna. I know where I put my bullet.
Fair enough. And I guess, first aid, maybe?
Well, roll me a medicine check first.
Certainly.
Stabbed with a demon knife.
I'm dying of tetanus. Fuck.
No, unfortunately. Well, this knife that you pull out of the shoulder is a little bit bigger. It's a throwing knife. It's not that big. Wouldn't be that big of a deal. It's only going to cause 2 damage to the deputy.
Only 2.
No, that's...
But the bigger concern for you, Doctor, is that you notice that the deputy is sweating. And the deputy is shaken. And it seems like the deputy is suffering those same symptoms of withdrawal that the Bradford boys were going through. And based on that, you know that he's going to be unconscious for at least the next little while.
Okay.
But you're not sure what exactly is going to happen. Running down the street, and we'll be passing you quite shortly, Father, you see the figure of one Dr. Benjamin Adams as he bursts into the jail. All right, what's wrong? What's wrong? Do you need any assistance, Doctor?
No, I believe I've got everything under control. Unless you want to take a look at the gentleman's shoulder in the cell. He appears to have suffered a small, minor gunshot wound.
Of course. And the sheriff will looks up, looks quizzically. Huh. It's been a while since I've seen you, Ben. Didn't know you were still in town. You were still around. Ah, Stephen. Pleasure. It's a real pleasure. Thomas invited me for a game. Do you want me to deal with a gentleman that apparently you shot? I mean, you know me. I put the bullet exactly where I wanted it. Well, that just makes it easier for me to clean up. And the sheriff opens the maintaining the gun on Joshua and allows Dr. Adams to proceed to stitch up. Although slightly, anyone looking would notice that he is very efficient in this, but he's not being very kind in his treatment. You would know, Doctor, based on that medicine check, that your best bet is to get George laying down somewhere, but he's unconscious for a period.
Yeah, I'm going to step out front and have the father come give me a hand and see if we can't get George somewhere he can rest for a few.
Do you want him in your place, Doctor, or should we take him to his?
I believe Jack or John or whoever's still in the bed in my office. So let's just get him in here in his bed in the jail. See if we can't just lay him down for a few.
Has your patient been unattended for this long?
Oh, he was fine. I mean, it was nothing more than some lacerations that he should be able to get up and on his own here.
I mean, you did leave him tied to the bed, but...
It's going to smell very bad in there.
He's got a bedpan. He'll be fine.
All right, let's get the deputy up to his bed.
You gentlemen managed to carry... as you walking out, the sheriff turns to you and says, "Is he gonna be all right?"
He'll be fine. He just needs a bit of rest. A few of the other folks in the cells there were suffering from the same thing. Just a word to the wise, Mr. Covington. Don't drink the water, and maybe stay away from the whiskey as well.
I will definitely try and do that. Well, at least we won't be hanging you for murder. He shouts over his shoulder at Joshua. The two of you managed to get the deputy upstairs. He is extremely unconscious at the moment. Gonna be out for a while. You hear a few shouts from downstairs as Ben Adams apparently finishes stitching up Joshua, and the sheriff comes up the stairs. You hear his heavy footsteps on the stairs outside the building. If you want, gentlemen, y'all get your rest. The little shit ain't going anywhere tonight. And I'll sit with him.
Thank you. Some rest does sound kind of nice right about now. And I'll pull out my pocket watch and just check the time.
You're pushing 10 o'clock. It's quite late. Quite late.
It is way past this old man's bedtime, Doctor. Perhaps I should go to rest too.
Probably do us some good.
You both return to your lodgings. As you do so, you see a candle being snuffed out in the upper floors of the cold water sundries. It's quiet on the streets. Lady Goodnight's is closed, and the saloon appears to be, well, just a few couple folk drinking quietly. You can both return to your place of residence, spend some time, a few hours at least, trying to make some sense of what y'all experienced, if you choose to do so.
I'll try, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Sounds like a good idea.
Well, how does the doctor deal with what he saw? What does he choose to?
Get back to my office and make a cup of coffee. And just have a seat with the letter in his coat. He'll put on the table and take off his pocket watch from his belt and just sit there and contemplate. Just think about back east and being home and seeing his sister.
Okay. So you're going to contemplate your sister bringing her 2 children out for you. Have you had any thought about finding them some accommodation?
Probably not on the top of my mind right now, but we can perhaps see if there's some room around we can get them set up in.
Mm-hmm. As you're sitting there thinking about better places and better times and feeling slightly anxious, would it be fair to say, about Isabel bringing her children on out?
Would be fair.
You'd think back even further to happier times. Happier things and happier memories. You do get to recover your 2d10 of sanity. Father, what do you do on this evening after the trials and avails of the day?
Father Makarov, he has a signed book titled "The Sickness Unto Death," and it's the concept of despair, which in relation to the Christian concept of like sin, particularly like original sin. And he just likes to read that a little bit to like better understand like the like past of like sin and like why, because he thinks that somebody in town is like worshiping Satan and summoning all these crazy things, and it's just really hard to understand why someone would turn to that as opposed to like God's holy light.
And you've experienced God yourself, Father, and you're right familiar with how he acts, or at least how he acts with you.
Yeah.
He apparently likes to talk to you on a regular basis. Damnedest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I need to record all that, what he says to me down. I'll become Saint Father Makarov.
There have been worse things to do. You do get to recover your 2d10 of sanity. And as the night draws to a close, it's quiet. And the day dawns early with Mr. Brooke. Well, he's unconscious, But Maisie, there's a wagon pulling up outside your door with 2 folk sitting in it. One of whom you recognize as one River Ashton. The gentleman in charge of security is at the Bradford Ranch. There's another figure in the cart you're not quite familiar with. Mr. Ashton gets out of the cart and comes up and knocks on your door. Are you open yet, Maisie? This early?
I don't think so. How is it like basically dawn, or like
maybe an hour or so after. Not quite. Not full light.
Given the events of the past few days, she's probably not like open yet, but she is up and bustling about and and maybe eating breakfast or getting things ready to go, checking accounts and that sort of thing. So she would very quickly be able to come to the door.
Okay.
And
by the time you get to the door, the second gentleman has stepped away. You're not quite sure where he's gone. But Mr. Ashton is standing there, and he takes off his hat and says, my apologies, Miss Coldwater. I have a letter for you.
Oh, that's odd. Yeah, okay. And she'll just take the letter.
It's looking right at it. You know immediately who it's from. It's from Genevieve Bradford. It's not postmark. It's just signed. Very fancy filigree, very fine paper. Paper is very, very fine.
And she'll just open it immediately.
It appears you have an invitation for dinner. Along with...
Oh.
And it seems that she wanted to apologize that she had not been able to speak with you more at the funeral, and is looking forward to seeing you at dinner this evening. And as he nods his head at you, you see down the street the figure that you didn't see before, that had walked away from you before, walking up to the door of the doctor's office, also knocking on the door. He's a doctor. There's a gentleman knocking at your door. It's a mite early.
And I'll get up groggily and answer the door. Yes, can I help you?
Who do they see, Simon?
He would see a towering individual dressed in... Or at night? Evening?
It's morning. It's about an hour after nightfall. Daybreak.
Then it would be... Yeah, he'd be wearing his poncho, which I don't have just yet on me, because I was unprepared. But it's dirty giant of a man with a full, thick beard. He's missing an eye, wearing an eye patch like this. Ruffled hair. There's sand all over his hands and his garments. He doesn't look like he's... I don't know, like he bathes too much. But he doesn't smell... well, he smells of sweat and manure.
He smells like a horse, you're saying?
He smells like a horse. And he's, from what it appears, completely unarmed.
And he's holding out a letter for you, Doctor.
I'll reach up and take the letter and thank the man and open the letter up and see.
It's again a very fine piece of paper. Very fine. The calligraphy on the front addressed to one Dr. Drake Anders. Opening it up, it reveals a similar missive as, was handed to Miss Maisie Coldwater, inviting you to dinner this evening at the Bradfords. It also has a sub-note at the bottom of yours, Doctor, that Mr. Ashton and his associate would be more than happy to escort you around to the ranch. Maisie, you see a sub-note at the bottom of your invitation that, as Mr. Ashton's still standing on your doorstep without his hat on, saying, if you desire, Mr. Ashton and his compatriot will escort you, or you can always come as you are. We know that you know the way, darling. And this little sub-notice has a different handwriting that you recognize as being Geraldine's, and the little, like, not smiley face, but like a nice little curly flourish at the end. Almost a heart emoji. Period appropriate heart emoji.
Period appropriate heart emoji. Maisie would just look back at River and be like, Mr. Ashton, I don't think I need an escort, but if you head back before this evening, please tell Geraldine and Jenny that I'll be there tonight. And do you know if it's okay if I might bring a guest?
I do know that the lady invited the doctor and the priest, and we were supposed to deliver a invitation to the deputy, but he appears to be unwell.
Well, okay. Well, if you want to leave the invitation for the deputy with me, if he ends up feeling any better, I'll pass on the message.
I left it with the sheriff.
Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you.
And he proceeds to walk up the street from your location to the church. But meanwhile, on the door of the doctor's office, you've got an invitation in your hand and a gentleman standing there staring at you, awaiting a response.
I appreciate you delivering the message on behalf of Miss Bradford. Would you kindly relay that I will be in attendance this evening?
All right.
And I don't believe I need any assistance getting to the ranch. I'm pretty sure we can find our way. And
All right.
Thank him and shut the door and go back and sit back down and ponder why I'm invited to dinner.
I actually think Maisie might, after River starts walking away, she'll give him a second and she'll turn around, kind of lock up, and walk down to the doctor's office because she knows he's invited too, and check in. Especially because she doesn't know what happened yesterday.
As you do so, you see, again, this tall gentleman walking back towards the wagon.
I just wave a bit and that's it.
She'd just probably give him a once-over, like, confused because who would be coming from the Bradfords that she doesn't already know. Is there anything...
You may not know all the ranch hands.
Yeah. Could I? I don't know what it would be.
Well, tell me what you want to do. I can tell you what you can roll.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure. Like, I feel very like I want to know if I can learn anything about him from his posture or.
So, do you want the psychology to read him, or do you want the spot hidden to see what he has on him?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to decide between the two. I think the spot hidden, because I think she would know, like, how well armed your average ranch hand is.
Alright.
second.
You did. But the first was a success. What is? Does she see any hidden weapons?
She would. A knife. He has a knife tucked away on his belt in his back. Sideways, the handle pointing to the left, to the right hand side, sorry, of his body, just so he could easily reach for it. But that's it. No firearms, no other weapons.
Does she notice if you're actually missing an eye or if the eye patch is for show?
She would notice that I'm actually missing an eye. The player might remove it at some point. But
the gentleman is missing an eye.
Yeah.
As you walk down the street, again, on the door of the church, walking in through the church, you hear the loud ring of boots with spurs, Father, marking up your floors.
I just swept this morning. Hello, what can I do for you?
Father, I appreciate, I have for you. And he presents you, again, with that very finely calligraphed piece of paper. Envelope.
Oh, it is an envelope. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there like anything on like the cover of the envelope, like a family sigil or anything, or is it?
Oh, you mean the seal on the back?
Yeah.
It is sealed closed. It's sealed with the initials G and B.
Okay. I thank you for this, and I'll just open it right there.
Again, you are also invited to dinner to thank you for your kindness in her hour of need and a solace in the time of her sorrow. From the Lady Bradford.
I was wondering when she would take me up on her dinner invitation. I remember it from the funeral.
If you desire, I and he nods back. Richard will take you back in the wagon.
Of course. May I have a moment to gather my things?
Well, I mean, this dinner is not for like a couple hours. Do you want to go out now? And he's like, it's an hour after dawn and you've been invited to dinner.
I like to show up early, okay? Very punctual. How long until we depart for dinner?
We got a couple things. We have a couple things to do in town and pick up some supplies, but we can leave in a couple hours. Richard, how long?
Got about an hour.
That would put us at lunchtime. Okay, yes. We can leave in about an hour. That would put us there a little early, but she wouldn't be too upset. No. The lady will be fine.
Gentlemen, I will see you in about an hour.
All right.
Father. And as he goes to leave, you see him make the sign of the cross.
I nod.
And genuflex as he walks out the door. Before he walks out the door.
What does genuflex mean?
Goes down on one knee.
Why couldn't you just say kneel?
Because it's not the same thing. Because kneeling is going down on two knees and you stay in that position for a period of time. Genuflecting is literally you're falling to one knee long enough to bow and then get back up.
I'm gonna have to try to find some sort of double entendre with genuflexing.
Genuflect? Cool. Have fun with that one.
Is there anything in the letter, like, besides just like a dinner invitation, or?
It's a dinner invitation from the Bradford Ranch. But Maisie, you said you were heading down to the doctor?
Yeah, if she knows that the doc's back, they've got the same invitation. She has no idea what just happened when they all just disappeared on her. Nobody showed up, so she's gonna go find some answers. And so I imagine she might even get there while the doc is still standing on the porch.
Yep, probably so.
Where the frick did you guys go? What? George was supposed to come by. We were supposed to go down the Bradford Ranch yesterday.
We understand. We Miss June and I, well, we decided to go on and check out the mines, and well, we ran into a few things, and that led us down to the Banks Ranch out of town, out near the mines, about, I don't know, half mile or two or so. And well, Maisie, just be glad you were not with us. I don't even know how to explain what we saw, what happened. But believe me, I'm with you all now that things aren't what they seem here.
Oh, well, I guess that's something. The Bradford's men that delivered the letter, they said that George isn't feeling well?
Yeah, at the Banks Ranch, George was trying to get us all out and had gone against one of those things. I'm still not quite
The red floaty things?
Yeah, I believe so. He ended up smashing a bottle across one of them, and he burned himself pretty good. So I'm probably going to head over to his quarters and see how he's feeling, or if he's even awake. I'm not even sure. And then he showed up with this invitation to dinner, which I'm not even certain what that's about, but I shouldn't be rude.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why Genevieve and Geraldine will invite a whole bunch of us, but I mean, obviously we'll all go together. Can I come with you to check on George?
Certainly. Yeah, I don't mind at all. The company,
and then we should,
nice.
We should meet up with Father, and he'll maybe we can all go to dinner together after.
Yeah, let's head over to the jail. Let's go check in on George.
Striding down the street, come up on the jail, walking up the steep flight of stairs on the outside to George's apartment above the jail cells. You notice that the door is ajar, sort of, and you see the figure of the sheriff sitting at the door, having a cigarette, blowing it out the door, intentionally, as you come up the stairs. Doctor?
Sheriff, how is George doing?
Well, he ain't waking up. And I think that fever's done got him.
And I'll step inside and go check in on George and see how he's doing.
You don't even have to roll. It's obvious that at this point George is unconscious and appears. His breathing isn't labored the way some of the others were at the time, but he is definitely suffering the same sweats, the same occasional racks of shivers, not quite seizures. They seem to be more fever oriented, but his heart rate seems steady.
It's going to take some time, I think. And I'll just kind of take a rag and pat his brow and let Stephen know that Mr. Covington, I'm not sure what all you have going on, but I need somebody to stay and look after George. it's going to be some time before he comes out of whatever he's in.
Well, I can't stay up here for very long. I do have to go to work. Apparently, I need to summon the judge on my own nephew. That'll be fun to tell his mother.
And Maisie, like, holds back a snort. It's like a...
He kind of takes a look at you. Something I should know, Maisie?
No, sir. Never from me, sir.
Are you sure? Because apparently the little shit's been getting himself in trouble. Is there anything I should add to that list?
Oh, well, at least we can agree on the little shit part. Yeah, I mean, your nephew's just been extra stubborn lately, and has been persistent in his attention towards me, which is not super appreciated.
Well then. Anything I can actually add to the docket, or are we just something I'm gonna hit him over the head with?
It's not something you can add to any legal proceedings, sir, but I just thought you should be aware.
I'll make sure it's not a problem anymore. I apologize if it was.
It's nice to have you back, sir.
Ben volunteered to come sit with him for the next little while.
Fantastic. That'll be good. And I'm gonna write some instructions on for just a piece of paper for Ben to keep in mind.
Okay. Would anything I should know about, or the sheriff asked, anything I should be on the lookout for before Ben comes back?
Don't believe so. Miss Maisie, you have anything? No, I don't think so, Sheriff. But Miss Maisie's right. It's good to have you back.
Well, I'll try not to be so far away in the future. And he just kind of sits there, finishes the cigarette, blowing it out the door, flick the end off the stairs. I'm assuming I can't smoke in front of the unconscious.
Probably better if you don't, sir.
No, I mean, if anything, the smoke is going to bring me back to life. I mean, it's a well-known medical fact.
It's true. I mean...
But only if it's Marlboro. The sweet taste of Marlboro can bring the dead back to life.
You're unconscious.
I'm still doing an ad for Marlboro.
Are they sponsoring you?
Sponsored.
Oh god, I hope not.
This is a sponsored stream.
Hashtag totally not sponsored.
Oof.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it is far from being a sponsor.
How does it feel to
Lord.
sell out, Simon? I mean...
Well, I mean, if I could get John Wayne on stream.
You raising the dead, have fun.
Literally raising the dead.
Alright. He is on. So, as you leave, take your leave, you can hear some rattling in the jail. And the door is open. Gonna take a glance inside. Well, that's
Sure.
from a quick glance inside the door. You will definitely see that Joshua Covington's arm is definitely bandaged, but it looks like somebody went to town and rigged him up a straitjacket and kind of manacled him to the bed in the jail cell. And you see Jensen Kane actually sitting at the sheriff's desks, playing a harmonica. Jensen being the enforcer at Lady Goodnight's and musician who occasionally helps out if the jail is in need of such. He kind of waves at you, keeps going, playing. So, what are y'all gonna do as Richard? Well, Richard, what is your name?
Why, you just said it. Richard Whitaker.
Because Mr. Ashton,
Whitaker.
what would Mr. Ashton call you?
He would call me, is he my boss?
Well, he's in charge of security. He's not the foreman yet. George met the foreman yesterday.
True that.
Or maybe. Not quite sure. Definitely heard Clarence Williams call something.
Yeah,
Silas
well,
Bryan.
I've always known the foreman to be a worm, but
Also true.
oh no, I think he would just call me Dick. Which, by the way, is the shortened form of Richard.
It is.
Yeah, whatever, Simon.
Come on.
It is. And he's going to tell you, Dick, get over to the feed store. We pick up what's there for us and load it in the wagon. I'll try and get the sundries from Miss Coldwater.
All right. I'm a man of many words. All right is one of those.
It's very, very true. So, you see, Maisie, Doctor, Father, what are you going to do?
So, but before the dinner, I want to use my divination to ask a question.
So, as the rest of you are going about your day, the Father enters into prayer. What does this ritual look like, Father, as you wish to talk to God?
Mm-hmm. It's kind of the same as the first time I did it. I'm down on both knees, and I'm probably in like my private quarters, just for in case somebody does come in, that they don't like snap me out of the spell or anything. And just like both hands clasped, probably around like my holy symbol, and eyes closed, and I want to ask.
Well, roll me that D4
divination
first. So D4 for how long it's going to take you.
Uh-huh.
And then a D6 for how many magic points it's going to cost you. So it's only going to take you about 20 minutes to get yourself centered in the right frame of mind that you can open yourself up to the conduit of the higher power.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything, aside from holding your crucifix, is there anything in front of you? Anything that you're looking at?
I wouldn't say specifically, but like if we were like shooting the scene, my bed might be in front of me.
Okay.
And I want to ask, is George afflicted by evil forces? Because the vision is still very fresh in Father's head.
Yeah, I like this. I'm gonna have fun. As you close your eyes and open yourself up, praying, speaking to God, feeling yourself become more centered, you feel this room fall away. You feel instead a hard stone floor under your knees. You see you smell, your eyes are still closed, but you smell the heavy scent of incense in the air. You feel the cold creeping through you, coming up from the ground. You smell pine, deep, deep pine under the incense. It's almost everywhere. And you're sure if you opened your eyes, you'd almost see snow outside. You can feel it. You know how sometimes you just know it's going to snow? You feel it in your core, in your bones that there's snow. Opening your eyes, you see again that bright, intricate stained glass window of the resurrection. And you hear the voice again speaking to you, coming from everywhere and nowhere. And it comes through you and speaks to you and says, "They fight for his soul." But no one's won yet.
That's good to know.
And as you hear this and say this, you're back. It's warmer, much warmer. The smell of incense is gone. You smell dry, desert heat. You feel stone is gone. You're back to that clapboard and hardwood floors you know so well.
Yeah, like that's like a huge sigh of relief. So probably, like my face like may have been worried like before I started praying, but afterwards, like that was a really good answer for me. So it probably just like slowly release my holy symbol, stand up, dust my knees off a little bit, and and probably just like close a couple windows and stuff before we leave for dinner.
While the priest is in prayer and meditation, communing with the higher authorities, Miss Maisie, Maisie, you see Mr. Ashton standing outside your door, kind of holding his hat.
So I think she would just turn back to the doctor and just be like, I've been closing the store almost every day for the last week. I gotta leave it open for a little while, or soon we won't be able to have any goods left. Will you come get me before we head out? We can head out together.
Certainly, Miss Macy. I wouldn't dream of leaving you behind.
Thank you, Doc.
Probably get back to the office as well and see about releasing Jack or John or whichever one's locked up in there.
And she just smiles and nods and then heads over to meet Ashton outside the store.
I also have a list. The Mrs. Bradford wished for items, apparently.
Of course. She's already got accounts on the inside. Come on in. Let me open the store and I'll find what you need.
And he hands you over a list. It's rather detailed. You have all of it in stock, but there's things like canned fruit, requests for extra coffee, a large order of sweets requested, couple bottles of alcohol.
Oh, this is quite the list. I'm gonna put together some crates, and would you mind carrying them out to the wagon for me?
I'll have, and he gestures behind him, and Richard's just standing there quietly. Apparently, that's what he's for.
Oh, okay.
I'll take it.
And I have a couple other. Richard, you take care of these. And he leaves the list and walks out, as he apparently has other tasks he has to do.
And it's just like, this is going to take me a little while to gather everything, but I'll put crates by the door, and just as I get them going, you can fill up the cart. And she just bustles around, kind of nervous. It's weird to have this man just kind of standing there waiting for her that she doesn't know very well. But anybody who's a friend of the Bradfords.
Do you say that out loud?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think she would just be bustling about everything. There's maybe even one or two things that are pretty nice on the list given the Bradfords, so she actually has to go kind of in the back to get them because they're not things she would keep just out on the shelves.
After sorry. I was gonna say after a couple minutes, Richard would walk up to you and just ask, "Can I help with anything?"
I don't think so. I mean, I know everything is, and it's faster for me to just grab stuff than to tell you. But like I said, I'll just the big thing I need help in is carrying all this out to the to the cart.
I'll do you mind if I go out for a smoke?
Oh yeah, sure. Like I'll empty some of our shipping crates and just put stuff in them by the door, and whenever you're ready, just come on in and grab them, and I'll just take credit off of the Bradford's account.
You don't need to talk that much, ma'am. I'm okay. I'll wait for you outside.
Okay.
Not a whole lot of charisma on that guy, by the way. Yep.
And as he walks out, you could see the camera would see Maisie be like, well, she's
All right, Doctor, you're going back to your place of business to check in on your patient.
John, whichever. Yeah. See if he's in good enough shape to turn over to Mr. Covington.
He's definitely awake, sitting up, looking. Sorry, Doc. I didn't mean to try and hit you. It was really not comfy. What? Is this gonna go away?
And then I'm not overly. I don't remember exactly how bad. I know he'd gone through the plate glass window, but I don't recall how bad his lacerations were.
They were bad enough that you didn't feel comfortable just stitching him up and leaving him in jail.
Okay.
So, not bad enough that he bled out.
True. Well, just save your strength. I'm gonna have one of the deputies come over and they'll take you back over to the jail. You'll have to appear probably before a judge on the damage to Lady Goodnight's place. So you went through the window. So if you got any savings, I'd say I understand, but you and the window met, and it didn't work out in your favor. So I would just try and make good with Miss Goodnight and see what base you can save.
He kind of is slightly despondent at that, but he's not fighting you on it.
And I'll, just make sure he's good to go, and I'll head over to the jail and let Sheriff Covington know that one of the deputies can come and
I'll
take custody.
I'll have Jensen come move him in a minute, and sends Jensen out with you, and it's easy enough to move him down to the jail and put him in a cell. Sam has started to come around at this point, but he's still looking wiped. Probably also slightly dehydrated at this point, considering how long he's been feverish and unconscious. But, those kind of things. We're going to fast forward the clock a little bit. It's just about 12 o'clock. River Ashton and, Mr. Whitaker are done loading whatever supplies are needed in the wagon and inform the three of you that, well, you all are, they're heading back to the ranch. River Ashton actually unties a horse that he had side hitched to the wagon and says he'll meet you all there. Richard's gonna look after you. I need to inform the staff and make sure that things are prepared. And I am concerned about... Without Silas, well, Mr. Billows is in charge of security when I'm not there, and Mr. Billows is a very interesting man. And he rides off. And it will take you, with the wagon full of supplies and the three of you plus Mr. Whitaker, probably a good almost 4 hours to get to the Bradfords.
That's pretty long.
Well, it's about 6 miles outside of town.
That's the moment where Richard would probably strike up conversation with someone, but it's Richard. So
What's the seating arrangement like in the wagon? Is there like a...
Well, there's a buckboard up front, and then there's a couple places to sit in the back that aren't taken up with supplies. And Mr. Whitaker's running the horses, so... Anyone else going to sit up front with Mr. Whitaker?
please, someone.
I could sit up front.
Like, I mean, I know he doesn't talk a lot, but this is gonna be a freaking long trip if nobody talks to anyone.
I think Maisie would be sitting by the dock. I think he makes the most sense to her. Which means he is who she is most comfortable with.
Yeah, it'd probably be with Maisie.
In fact, if the back of the wagon is like open, Maisie might even be kind of sitting on the back with her feet dangling off.
You probably wouldn't have it open, considering the amount of
Because the
supplies that
stuff.
you could. Yeah. But you can definitely sit on like a.
So what she's doing is she's the benches on the sides, I'm guessing, she's
Yeah.
kneeling on one and like looking out rather than focusing on the inside of the wagon. But she's probably sitting next to the dock.
Anybody have any questions?
So
Or
I'm
is
who am I sitting next to again?
Me.
Richard.
Oh, great. So, how long have you been employed by the Bradfords?
About a season.
Where were you before that?
Came down from Colorado.
Colorado, it is somewhat different up there. What was your employment there?
I was a ranch hand. Taking care
Have
of
you-
horses.
Have you known any other type of work?
A bit. Walked the trails. That's what I did for a while.
Are you a godly man, Richard?
I've never punched a priest. I did get into trouble with some of the Mormon folks.
What do you mean by trouble?
we don't see eye to eye about the consumption of alcohol.
Do you drink much, Richard?
Someone once told me that you need to drink to live, so I drink.
Do you drink to live, or do you drink to forget?
I have nothing to forget.
Do you have anything to forgive?
I forgive you for asking so many questions.
Very good. A man of few words.
Look. People don't strike up conversation at the ranch. And I spent most of my time by myself. I don't talk much to anyone.
It must be lonely to not talk much. To have no one to confide in, share ideas.
I talk to let me just get my note for a second. I talk to Ruffian.
Is that all?
That's my horse.
Does he talk back?
No, it's a horse.
Stranger things have happened.
No. I've never seen a talking horse. I've seen a chicken with counts.
Chickens are different from a horse.
I've also seen I've seen a bearded lady at a carnival once.
Interesting.
And,
How were you sure it was a lady?
I don't know, that's the name they went by. There's no first name, no God-given name, just a bearded lady. I didn't ask much questions.
This is very interesting. Are you sure it could not have been a man in disguise?
Sure. I could wear a dress and call myself the bearded lady.
That you could.
I could make money with the carnival.
It would be dishonest to lie.
Richard gets off the wagon and starts his life as the bearded lady. I want to change character. No.
He just jumps off, walks away.
That's a good idea. Not a liar.
That is good. Are you?
Are you a liar?
No.
Good. Does God exist?
Yes.
Alright.
God exists. Satan exists. Good exists. Evil exists.
It's a lot of people.
It is not so much. It is a war that has been going on since the beginning of time.
The only priest what I ever met only told me about God and Jesus. I don't know who that Satan fellow is. Is he part of like a sequel or something? And that was me breaking the fourth wall for today.
For the third time.
No. Satan would be, let us say you had a group of friends, and one of your friends did not see eye to eye with you anymore, so you cast him out of your friends. That is what Satan would be in a very simple sense.
I tap my eye patch, and I say, last time someone didn't see eye to eye with me, I lost an eye and then I killed them.
Was it justified?
Guess you could say that.
What would not seeing eye to eye with you refer to?
And I think Richard sits straight up, and he's holding the reins to the horses, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's just gonna sit up and put the reins down on his legs. Keep hold of them with both hands, but just look around for a couple minutes, and then he answers Father by saying, "I was trying to shit in the woods."
And the man who did not see eye to eye with you did not appreciate this.
I was too close to his home. I didn't know.
How close were you?
I don't know. Damn devil came out of nowhere.
You did not try to explain yourself first, or did it come to blows immediately?
Didn't have time. Tried to stab me in the back, he did. Might have been she. Can't remember. It was dark at night. I think I left his, or her, 2 children orphaned. Couldn't take them with me. Too expensive to feed.
Self-preservation is a thing, but I feel like you should stop by the church sometime. We can talk about this more.
Well, I mean, it did give me enough meat to last for a good week or so.
You ate the children.
Not the children. I'm not gonna eat the children.
You ate the person you stabbed.
I didn't stab him. Punch him in the snout, and then I snuffed the life out of it with my bare hands.
Unless Richard says anything, I'm going to remain silent. Just kind of nod my head and,
Like, I have the real story in my mind, and I'm just working at trying to deliver just the simplest lines possible. As long as they can be misconstrued.
Okay, well, on that note, sorry, y'all. The joys of being everybody's knowing every secret that exists in Four Corners. Sometimes some things are just funny. But you ride on. Unless anyone else has any conversation, we'll just kind of
nope, I'm done.
move it.
I assume this isn't a large car. I assume Maisie and the doc heard all of that too. And I think the whole time Maisie was just looking at the doc.
Yep.
With her eyes getting bigger and
each sentence we were just passing glances going.
Yeah, and Richard being much bigger than I am, his voice is deeper and carries a lot more than mine.
It was not a quiet experience. Y'all definitely heard that. And as we pull up with the sun beginning to set behind y'all, you get to Bradford's Ranch, pulling up to the fine 2-story house that, well, Maisie knows well enough.
oh, thank God we're here.
You see Geraldine and Genevieve standing at the door, waving at you and smiling. And that's where we're gonna go on a break for tonight, y'all.
All right. We'll be back in 5 to 10 minutes. We'll see you at the ranch for some more wholesome conversation. See you later, everyone.
wouldn't say.
Because we're back. Hello, everyone. Let's go to a dinner.
As you all pull up to the ranch and you see, a few other people gesturing, and you see Genevieve and Geraldine both standing at the door and waving at you, and again, still in full mourning because her husband Genevieve's husband did just die in the last week. But they are welcoming you in with open arms. Jeff Billow, as you get off, you see Mr. Ashton gesture to Richard, bring it around to the kitchen. We'll empty over there first.
All right.
As Geraldine kind of grabs your hands, Maisie, and that kind of, come on in, we're going inside, come on.
Yeah, Maisie probably unladylike but gracefully jumps kind of out and over the edge of the wagon. And you can see her start to run up, and then she slows down and then kind of grabs.
As Genevieve kind of gives you that side eye of that's propriety, please.
The excitement of youth.
Father, I'm so glad you could come. It was such a solace at the service. You were such a solace to me. Please come inside. Doctor, please join us.
Sure.
And she'll lead you into the front parlor of her house. It's very nicely appointed. Can we get you anything to drink?
Nothing for me, thank you.
As you sit down on these very obvious, Victorian low couches in thick, dark embroidered, carved wood and bright white, stark white velvet cushions that are deep and plush. There's a big rug underneath you. It's intricately woven, definitely not locally produced, imported. There's a large fireplace that kind of dominates the space. It looks almost like it was supposed to be some sort of, it was built much earlier in time period and with big, heavy rock, and kind of looks slightly out of place with the lace draping over the mantle and candles and silver displayed. It's a very nice sitting room that you have right here.
Are there any fainting couches?
There's 2
Nice.
in this room.
And I think Maisie is just looking at Geraldine like, Deanie, why does she invite all of these people here?
She didn't want to have this more than once, and apparently she invited the doctor and the priest at the same. I don't know. I honestly don't know. We're smiling.
Okay.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
It's been a weird couple of days. Ever since the funeral, strange things keep happening in town, but I'll fill you in later. Jenny doesn't need to know.
Strange things? She looks disconcerted at that. Like, obviously disconcerted. And again, Genevieve gets up and walks over to a small sidebar with a few crystal decanters on it, very heavy, rich, with the ones you pull off the big carved crystal knob on, and she pours a couple cordial glasses. Father, doctor, can I get you anything before we have dinner?
No.
Libation.
Thank you. I'm quite all right.
Father, you?
Well, thank you.
She caps it back up and takes her glass and sits and kind of sips a little bit. Well, I'm quite glad you could take me up on my invitation. It's been... Honestly, I just needed to talk to somebody that wasn't... And she kind of gestures out the window. You're behind back unloading supplies. You're doing heavy lifting at the moment, as the cook just kind of like directs you about where to put things.
And I think Maisie just kind of breaks the ice and she's like, so Genevieve, how have things been going here at the ranch? Have you been managing okay?
It's just so much to go through, and I'll have to make an appointment to go into town. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day. I have to talk to the bank. Apparently, Theodore was buying all of these properties, and all of these things are just, well, over my head.
You should call on Daddy. I'm sure he'd be happy to come out here and help. I mean, we've known you guys forever, right?
Maisie, roll a psychology on Genevieve.
Can I re-roll that one?
You do have an advantage left. And you can guys, you can always...
No, it's this one, right?
Mm-hmm. Ooh, a success. You notice when she went to say that it was all over her head, she kind of sideline glances at both the doctor and the priest and pulls it's just all over my head. I know absolutely nothing about figures like that. I have to spend some time talking to the doctor and spending time to the bank and making sure I can pay attention to exactly what he's saying. It'll be so difficult. Playing up the role she is expected to play.
And I think Maisie just kind of squeezes Geraldine's hand, noticing it.
Yep, and she kind of squeezes back, going, I don't know why she's even trying. I mean, I'm the doctor, and I'm not the doctor. I'm the teacher in town. I mean, I could totally help. Okay.
I mean, there's like 7 people in her life that know how to do basic math.
Mm-hmm. And she's one of them.
If you would like, Miss Bradford, I could perhaps help you in these matters. I am an educated man.
Well, I might take you up on that, Father. I just need to go through everything and know exactly what I'm looking at first. Apparently, Theodore was keeping documents, and this office, and she kind of points out through the hallway that you entered across to a set of double doors that are closed at the moment. And also apparently at the bank in town.
How long is there until dinner is prepared? Perhaps I could take a look now.
I should check on that. And she kind of gets up very gracefully and kind of slides almost out of the room. And as she gets up and moves, any of you can roll me a spot hidden. Although Maisie will get an entirely different information, has a different level of success requirement than you guys do.
She glides. She's a ghost.
No.
Extreme success.
Yeah. Doctor, you're slightly concerned about her. She seems to be moving slightly differently, being very careful. She's moving very she's gliding. She's making an effort to look like that. It's obviously an effort for her at this point.
So is it anything noticeable, I guess, maybe medically wrong with her or something?
You're not quite sure, but it's something you're very convinced that she's putting effort into looking effortless. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Maisie notices something else with that extreme success.
She walks very gracefully.
According to Father Boris. Maisie, however, notices that the lady's dress has been let out in the back of the seam, and that looks like her corset is not done up as tight as usual. And if you had to guess, Maisie, the lady might be trying to adjust her clothing to avoid appearing, showing off what will be showing in a couple weeks, maybe a couple months. As she walks out and then turns to talk to thee.
And as she leaves the room, Maisie's going to resume whispering with Geraldine, like, am I seeing what I think I'm seeing?
I don't know what you're looking at, so I can't tell you what you're seeing. Right now, I'm looking at two guests.
She's like, is your sister with child?
Well, I do know that she had the seamstress out the other day, and she's been a lot more emotional than usual.
Oh, boy. Maybe that's why she needs the doc.
Maybe. That might make sense. That's a possibility. Yes. And as you are having this conversation, you hear a bell toll in the dining room, calling you all to dinner as Genevieve goes, well, apparently dinner is served, and please join me. Father, Doctor.
Thank you.
And I think Maisie actually, she pushes Geraldine kind of along and just I'll be there in a second. Kind of falls back next to the doctor, probably. Kind of maybe even tugs on his arm just a little bit to have him pull back as the rest of the group keeps moving forward. And she just tells him I don't know if you noticed what I noticed. Women, we see things like this a little better, but I'd keep an extra careful eye on Genevieve. I believe she is with child. She might appreciate an extra eye on her. Or maybe not. I don't know. She probably would have told us if she wanted something, but I thought you should know, seeing as you're a doctor and these are things that you kind of deal with sometimes.
Sometimes, yes, that's correct. I'll keep an eye out. I noticed she was putting some effort into maintaining her gracefulness.
Yeah. I mean, you delivered 3/4 of the people in town, so.
Makes some sense. So I'll definitely keep an eye on Miss Bradford.
And then she just kind of like skips ahead and catches up with Geraldine.
Wasn't she the only one that drank?
Yeah.
Okay, bye-bye.
We didn't know about that back then.
Yeah, I'm sure she's lighting up a smoke or two.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Nope. There is no discussion at the moment about alcohol and pregnancy, and it's not a question that would have been discussed in 1870.
Yeah, none of those funny labels or anything on anything.
Nope, not at all. Never mind. But as you enter this dining room, it's a very large room, kind of almost spanning the length of the house, with large windows overlooking the back of the property. You see a large, beautiful but austere sight of the desert at sunset, with large rocks and a couple cactus and Joshua trees. You see the sun start reflecting off the rock. The dining room table is large enough to serve 14. Again, that heavy wood intricately carved chairs. The chairs along the sides of the dining table are ladder back, but intricately carved. The chairs at the ends are the only two that have arms on them. Genevieve makes a point of escorting you all to chairs on either side, and she sits in one end. Any of you could roll me a spot hidden in this room. And there's a large figure lurking in the background, holding a tray.
Do I get to also make a check? That's why I was pointing to myself.
You can, but you're not going to get the same information.
I only have the one eye.
Well, it's fine. You're too busy holding the tray, making sure you don't drop nothing. The lady would be might upset if you dropped dinner. With that extreme success, Maisie, you notice something. Something that you've seen, but you never noticed before. It didn't make much sense to you at the time. You saw it and ignored it. In the middle of the two larger chairs with arms at either end of the table, you see a carving in the middle of the back where the individual would sit. So actually, like between where the person's back and the back of the chair, on the actual back in where the chair back to the chair is. You see a carving of a shield with scroll work underneath, and on that shield, you see a very familiar sight. It looks like a cattle skull with snakes writhing through it. You also kind of glance around and you see a couple more of those as end post knockers on the open rafter look of the dining room. That old Spanish colonial wood with the exposed beams and rafters, and you see a couple of them kind of up carved in the rafters. Father, you happen to notice you notice the one in the chair, but you don't notice the ones in the walls, or on the ceiling, excuse me.
Do I know what it's from?
Oh, and the doctor noticed, not you, Father. Sorry. Wow.
Great. I was like, I failed, but all right.
Yeah, no, doctor, not father. Wow, I will get this someday. The doctor notices.
And I'm assuming I'm still with Maisie's.
Yeah, I'm assuming you're going to actually escort her to her chair and possibly,
So I'll probably sit on the other side of Maisie, so she'll have Geraldine on one side and me on the other. And I'll just kind of nudge Maisie and give her a glance towards the chair.
Actually, Geraldine will be sitting across from Maisie.
Okay.
Because if the lady, the Mrs. Bradford, the doctor on her left, the father on her right, Genevieve, or Maisie sitting next to the doctor, Geraldine sitting next to the priest.
Okay.
Because seating arrangements are important at this time period.
And I'll kind of lean in to Maisie and say, do you see what I'm seeing right now?
Yeah, they've been here a long time, but I've never really noticed him. Did you see that there's matching ones? And she raises her eyes to look up above them.
And I'll glance upward and assuming notice the ones that are in the rafters.
Yep. They're just there.
And I think Maisie just looks at Genevieve and just asks, I have never complimented you, I think, on the woodwork in this room and the quality of your fine dining pieces here.
They are. It is such a. Honestly, Theodore, was his parents' set, apparently. His parents' house. And I thought that were a little bit heavy and ostentatious, but it does fit the room very nicely. And they do actually look quite nice, don't they?
They do. I had never really noticed how well it suits the room.
And you'll see that there's a large, of course, you're sitting all at one end of the table, and there's a large flower arrangement falling out of a giant silver urn in the center of the table. And she gestures behind her towards the large gentleman standing silently in the back, holding a large silver tray.
Sup? Oh, I walk forward.
To serve dinner.
Yeah, but you have to realize that Richard has never done that before.
I know. Right, I understand. Richard is such a kindness with the animals, but unfortunately some of those boys that we usually have and some of the other people we usually have, they got themselves in a mite spot of bother in town apparently, and well, I'm working with what I got.
What's in my tray? What's in my tray right now?
You have 6 covered. You have 1 large covered platter that she gestures for you to put in the center.
I lift the cover first.
It's roast fowl of some sort, possibly turkey.
Put the cover back down and all. Okay. Richard is gonna try to be all precious and everything, but I think that by the time the plate is about an inch away from the table, it's just he can't have good manners for so long. So he's just gonna drop the plate and it clangs on the table and he'll go, apologies.
It's all right, Richard. I do appreciate your assistance.
Yeah.
Why don't you go see about getting some more wine for dinner in the kitchen?
Yeah. All right.
And she's going to reach over and lift the cover, and you'll have a very ornate stuffed turkey, rather large size, pushing 30 pounds size turkey. They're an arrangement of vegetables along the outside. And she turns and presents a knife. Father, would you do the honors?
I will be delighted to, but I believe that perhaps Dr. Anders might be more skilled with a knife than I.
Oh, Yes, of course. Would you say grace for us, Father?
Of course. May we bow our heads for a moment. Dear Lord Father in heaven, we thank you for this wonderful bounty we are about to receive. We also thank you for the safety of all of us making it here.
Miss Bradford.
We also thank you for Richard for bringing us this food.
I dropped the
Jesus'
bottle,
name.
Miss Bradford.
Amen.
Damn it. I dropped the
Clean
bottle.
it up, Richard. Clean it up, Richard.
I need to find another one. Where's the cellar?
There should be like 6 or 7.
Alright.
There, and if you go back into the kitchen, there is actually a case sitting at the door.
My failed spot check is going to go for until I need to roll another one. So...
That's okay. The cook is standing there glaring at you like, "Why did you make a mess in my kitchen?" and points literally to it.
Don't ask me to fucking serve people.
Well,
I bring the bottle, and I'll just...
Okay, good. Thank you, Richard. Father, would you do the Doctor? Excuse me. I'm so sorry. I'm slightly frazzled at the moment. Would you do the honors as Geraldine kind of takes the bottle and kind of subtly starts to uncork it.
Certainly, Miss Bradford, I would be more than delighted. And I'll go ahead and slice into the bird.
It smells divine. Absolutely divine.
My stomach growls.
After everyone's been served appropriately, both turkey and vegetables, and there's a gravy boat that comes out and is offered, and she gestures for you again.
Yeah, what?
Can you take that back to the kitchen? Thank you, Richard. You're so kind.
I take it back to the kitchen.
And the cook looks at you and says, well, right now we can eat. So as dinner is begun, there's polite conversation discussed by everyone involved. What do you do?
I think Maisie is noticeably uncomfortable, and she probably regularly gets looks from Geraldine settle.
And she's across the table from you going,
Miss Bradford, this wine is very tasty. Where perhaps did it come from?
honestly, it's quite a surprise. My cousin sent it over from California, if you can believe that.
Well, your cousin, I say thank you. It is very smooth on my tongue.
It's a very nice red. I do enjoy it quite. Father, do you enjoy the turkey? Is it to your liking?
The turkey is prepared very well. I pity I cannot eat more of it.
Oh, we can definitely get you some more. Let me know if you're still hungry.
Perhaps later we can discuss taking some. I am not as good as cook as your cook.
Oh, I will have. Oh, and she kind of goes. Oh, Doctor, how are you? Is it to your liking as well, or are you well?
Everything is best it could be, ma'am. I'm very well delighted with the meal we had. This wine you said was from California, is that correct?
Yes, apparently.
Never had a chance to make it out to the that side of the country.
Yes, I neither did I. Grew up in Four Corners.
Four Corners is quite the place to be, it seems.
It is a shame you have not gotten out more A
Oh, my
bright
family-
world out there.
My family's been here for a few generations. We quite like it. It's been quite nice for us.
Do you not wish to travel? I hear France is all the rage.
Nah, I mean, I'm sure someday I'll travel, but there are still mysteries here that well, as you can see, and she gestures out, and by now it's full dark. But you have a beautiful view of the moon rising. With the storm that came in yesterday and cleared everything out, all you can see is starlight and moonlight. Sometimes the beauty just speaks to me. I now need all of you to make a constitution check. You need to succeed on a hard or better.
Me as well?
Everybody.
What have I done?
You ate dinner.
God damn it.
I think here comes the advantage roll.
Okay.
Ha!
Oh, fail across the board.
Well, that's okay. Everybody fails. You didn't call your... You used yours already, Father.
Oh, I thought it did the disadvantage when I did the right click.
Well, I mean, he would have gotten a hard failure with disadvantage anyway. Hard
but I didn't-
success.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying is he already used his advantage.
Well,
why were you
just
rolling with
just use the
disadvantage?
0 and it's the same.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'll just use
I thought clicking the white gave me
No.
showed me the advantage and disadvantage rolls.
It does, but why were you
Oh.
rolling with disadvantage?
Never mind.
Okay, I was like,
I thought I had disadvantage. I'm sorry.
nope. That's fine. You did not have disadvantage. Well, that's okay. Unfortunately, all of you fall.
I got an
Let's see.
extreme success.
Yeah, I know. You're not going to take any sanity loss from this. It'll be something different, but you all fall fast asleep.
That turkey really hits you.
Tryptophan. It's a killer.
It does. Well, with that extreme success, Richard, you just fall asleep. You see something. You're dreaming, and you know you're dreaming. It's the woods, and a bear, and a knife in your hand. And that bear, well, it's knocked you around some. You're bloody, you can feel it. But you stab in hard in the middle of its head, and it falls. And all you see are the two crying cubs in the background. How do you feel, Richard?
I feel bad.
As you stare at this, you fall and drift into a softer slumber. Maisie, you fall asleep and you're falling, you keep falling, and you keep seeing something. You're back at the lake's house, and you're looking at that creature, but it's not the creature. There's something opening in front of the creature. It's vast. It's starlit. You see purples and blues, and there's something moving in that opening, reaching out for you, sliding towards you, coming at you slowly, creeping hard across towards you. You can't look away. All you can see is this void and darkness. You see something, whatever this thing that's moving is large, so large you think, well, is that all of it? That must be all of it. And then you realize, no, that's not more than a leg or a knee. You see something moving, crawling towards you. You hear it calling out to you in your head. Show them the path, Maisie. Show them the path. Doctor, you look down, and what you see is blood. You see a man on your operating table, but he's not the first, and it's not even the 10th. He's the 20th, 30th man you've seen today. Blood is all you see. You hear cannons in the distance. You hear the cries of those you tried to help earlier today. You look down at your hands and you look down at this poor boy. And he's a boy. This child should not be on this battlefield. If he's 16, he's lying. And in this pool of blood, you see darkness coming for you. It opens up in front of you, and soon all that on this operating table is this pool of black, inky darkness. Open it up into the sun and stars, but there are no sun and stars. It's just darkness and a figure moving through it, coming closer and closer. It reaches through the darkness towards you, reaches towards you, trying to pull you in. Doctor, I need you to make me a dodge roll at disadvantage. You feel grabbed by this large rope tentacle, pulling you closer and closer to this dark emptiness. You see this tentacle following it back, and you realize it's this rope that around you, grabbing you, crushing you, is attached to the maw of some thing. You see bulbous pustules leaking all over. You see purple and green and bright sparkling lights as it pulls you deeper into this void of light. You see nothing. And you're going to take 4 points of damage as this tentacle crushes around your insides painfully. Father, you pass out and you
Wake up just fine.
you fall hard on that ground, on that wherever, and you're back in that church. You're back in that with the sight of the resurrected Lord. But it's much colder for you. And you look down and you're not dressed as a priest. And you realize that you've got a man standing in front of you holding out his hand, offering small child some comfort. But there's blood behind you. There's cold seeping into you. Now, everybody who failed on that hard or better, which would be which would be Scott, and Kelly are both going to take 6 sanity loss. And Scott and Doctor, you also, as you feel this rope pulling you, reaching for you, you feel it suddenly stop, and you feel you feel yourself being pulled further, but the tentacle isn't pulling you in. There's something almost magnetic about this. You're falling towards it, falling into it. You feel a voice come through your mind. Come to me. Come to me. Open the door and come to me. And you all awaken, seated around Mrs. Bradford's very fine table. And she turns and smiles to all of you. I need you all to make me another con check, and this time it needs to be a dream or better.
Just gonna say a small prayer before I click this button. I can't spend luck, can I?
Can I?
You can spend luck.
You can.
Because I'm going to spend 1 luck to make it an extreme success.
Yeah, I'll spend 2.
Okay.
And
I will not spend 83.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a bit of sense. You'll look down and you'll realize that Geraldine is not in the room. All 4 of you are seated round Mrs. Bradford's table. And all 4 of you are tied to the chair in Mrs. Bradford's table. As she's smiling and got a piece of paper in front of her and writing down notes in very detailed handwriting. Sets the pen down, smiles, stands up, walks over to the doctor and Maisie, unties them, just kind of yanks the rope right quick, and it falls.
Maisie spit on her.
Nope, Maisie can't do anything because Maisie is now on check. Well, Dr. Maisie, why don't you go wait for me in my husband's study? I think we need to have ourselves a more detailed conversation. And you two are compelled to stand up and walk out of the room.
Maisie would like to spit on her. She can't, but that's what's happening in her head. She doesn't really like this woman to begin with.
Yeah.
Have I seen some of the boys act like that before?
Yep.
Well, some bitch.
And
Am I tied to a chair?
you are tied to a chair. And she turns and looks at you. And she picks up her pen. As she sends the doctor and Maisie off to her husband's study. Turns to look at the two of you. Well, you're a little bit more resistant than I expected. I might have to work harder for you.
I want to break my bonds and throw the chair at her.
Mrs. Bradford, what is the meaning of this?
Oh, Father, please be quiet. You can try at disadvantage. because you worked for her and she tied you a little bit tighter than the others.
Figure.
Um,
A strength check
yeah.
to get out
fighting
of the
brawl.
bonds?
Fighting brawl. Or
Fighting brawl to get rid of the. Oh yeah, that would make sense. Okay, fighting brawl, the disadvantage to get out of the thingy.
Come on.
That's a success.
As you do so, you break your bonds. She sighs. Richard, really, this is the third time I've had to do this. I need you to roll a powers check. Also at disadvantage.
There's no chance I can succeed. No chance.
No, there's no chance you can succeed. And you feel yourself stop.
Good.
Richard
Fuck it.
broke my chair. Just stand there for a moment. The priest apparently I have to deal with. You're very useful, Richard, but I'm dumber than a box of rocks.
Mrs. Bradford, what is the meaning of this? Let me go. Let everyone go.
Well, Father, apparently you've been talking to some people and I need to know who you've been talking to. And I need to know what you know. Well, more accurately, I need to know what Maisie and the good doctor know. You...
Know about what?
Well, in my condition, I can't travel the paths as well as I would like, and apparently they can, so it's quite useful for me.
Which paths are you referring to?
Say the path to enlightenment, Father. The path to enlightenment.
I don't think you are enlightened in the correct way, Mrs. Bradford.
Oh, Father, I've been enlightened longer than you've been born.
Did you kill your husband?
Oh no. Unfortunately, some idiots from town managed to do that. It's most upsetting. It is a minor setback, but I can overcome. He was useful. And fun. For a time.
Was he also enlightened?
Well, he wanted to be. I do feel like I'm monologuing, though. Richard, I'm going to let you nod. Am I actually monologuing? Well, okay, it's a little bit beyond me at the moment. Father, I just think that you need to go to sleep and not remember anything that happened. And I need you to make an opposed powers check.
Sweet.
Have fun.
Yeah, I could totally beat that.
Burn all the luck.
Can I? Can I on that?
Not really, no.
No, because you would have to roll. You have to be 12 points under 9.
Mm-hmm. There's no mathematical way you could do it.
Okay.
And you fall unconscious, tied to this chair, with no memory of what happened.
This is the suck.
Richard, darling.
So.
I need you to forget again.
Or.
And Richard, wake up.
Right.
Next time, don't break the chair. Give me something. Something that I can fight with. More fun. You're such a good boy. And she kind of just walks by, pats your cheek as she walks, and leaves you unconscious on the floor. With the doctor tied to the chair. She walks into the study. Now then, Maisie, doctor, I need you to tell me everything you saw in detail. Write it all down for me. and you proceed to do so. You try and describe what you saw. How do you do so?
Right, like a doctor, so good luck reading any of this.
Hooray for lack of typewriter.
Right. It's all handwriting. No. I'm
Brilliant.
assuming she's wanting details of the dream, like everything that had gone through. So, in just almost excruciating fashion, just writing every small nuance and detail, not even stopping to pause or correct the pen from getting a cramp in my hand. I'm just writing for her.
And she kind of just keeps... And then, Maisie, how are you doing?
Well, even though Maisie is compelled to do this, would she still have any oomph to not fight back in a successful way, but to at least...
You can't counteract any order that she has given you.
So I have to write it all down. She didn't say I had to be truthful.
She wanted to see exactly what you saw.
Okay.
She did say that. And you're not really aware enough to really fight on that level.
Yeah, no. But I almost feel like it would manifest kind of backwards to what Maisie would want. So like the parts that Maisie really didn't want to share, you would see maybe her handwriting change. And so it goes from like Maisie's handwriting to like big bold letters,
blocky,
drawing attention to the fact that like Maisie would not want to be giving that information, specifically what she heard, specifically that they told her about these paths that she doesn't understand anything about. Yeah. So she writes it all down, but like unlike the doctor, you see spots where her handwriting changes and where and it's kind of it's all there, but it's a mess.
Well, this is quite useful for me. It's been so long, and finally finding not just one, but two fine individuals who can give me what I need. Well then, I think it's time for y'all to go to sleep and forget any of this ever happened. We had a very, very pleasant evening and a very, very pleasant dinner. And you are unable to ignore her orders. And as 5-10 minutes later, you all wake up, seated around Mrs. Bradford's very fine table. Geraldine is kind of sitting there next to you, blinking. Well,
was she also there?
She was not there when you woke up the first time. She is there when you woke up the second time. You'll also notice that the chair Rich broke is not visible anywhere.
So we're at a table for 14, but only 13 chairs.
Nope, there's just no remains of it. There are 14 chairs.
Oh,
They switched a broken chair for a new one.
Okay.
There is no broken chair. There's nothing. Everything is exactly the same. And you have
Would there be any way that like I could see if Maisie would notice the time jump at least?
If one of you wanted to try and do that, I mean, as she says, well, I'm so sorry. Apparently, that turkey done got to us all. Maybe the wine, maybe the turkey. We all took ourselves a little nap. I'm feeling quite under the weather. Would you like to stay for the evening, Maisie, or father or doctor? I mean, it's quite late at this point.
Yes, I feel if I am falling asleep at dinner table, perhaps I should go to bed. It would be very nice of you to offer me a room for the night.
Oh, I have a couple guest rooms. Would be more than happy. Maisie, are you going to bunk down with Geraldine, or are you going to go on home?
No, I'll stay. I mean, I've stayed here a couple, we've had late nights before. No one wants to go traverse the desert in the night.
Well, if one of you wants to, I can bring you back home.
Thank you, Richard. That was going to be my request. If any of you needed to go home for the day.
Which, I don't know what's worse, crossing the desert at night or crossing the desert at night with Richard?
I mean, well, if you're not a bear, I guess it's okay.
But if Maisie is concerned about falling asleep and wanting to check the time, you could. Well, there's not one in this room. You could roll a survival, see if you could track the time by the moon, but there is no clock visible in this room.
I'm actually going to try.
I have a pocket watch. This Maisie could take a look at.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fail.
Yeah, you're a little focused, following orders. You fell asleep on the job. Slightly upsetting.
I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose my job again.
Doctor, as you take out your pocket watch and look at the time, you lost about 3 hours. It's close to 9 o'clock at night.
Where does the time go?
It just seems to fly away sometimes. But let me get let me get some beds made up for you. I'll be right back.
Would
Yes.
Would
ma'am?
Maisie know that, like, she knows Genevieve, like, she knows how these kind of dinner parties go? Would she be able to kind of discern that this is, like, never how that would happen?
Nope. There's no indication from Genevieve that anything is out of the ordinary.
Did all of us doze off?
I guess. I mean, I was talking to the father, and we were having such a great conversation and about your trips. Was it come on your travels over from Russia? That is such a surprise to me. It was quite pleasant to have that conversation, and I'm sorry I nodded off there at the moment.
I believe I did so too. It is very unorthodox, if you get my meaning, for me to doze off during a conversation.
Well, I must have been that turkey. It was so good. Honestly, I've been feeling a mite under the weather for a little bit at the moment. And she's gonna get up and invite everyone and go put together some bedrooms for you all for the evening.
Where do we sleep? Like the Bradford boys and myself.
In the stables.
There's a bunkhouse on the far side of the, like, if this is the main house, the bunkhouse is like down here. It's about 100 yards to the bunkhouse.
Okay.
It's really kind of nice for a bunkhouse.
No, it's okay. I was wondering if we slept there or like in the stables, or if we had like tents put up outside.
No. You have a bunkhouse.
Okay.
And she leaves the four of you alone and has Geraldine come with her. Geraldine, come on, we'll put up some rooms.
I could go to bed.
Miss Bradford, would you mind if I borrowed a book from your husband's study? I like to read before bed.
Oh, but of course. Please, I haven't been able to bring myself to go in there. But please, feel free. There's
I
a.
can show you where it is.
Oh yeah, yes, Maisie. I kept the door locked, but you know where the key is behind the sideboard.
Oh, okay. I can do that.
Thank you.
And I feel like Maisie would be able to find the key and open the door, but she's probably never been in this room. She just knows it from other evenings with him going back to work after dinner or something like that.
Yep. And as you open these two large double doors, you see in front of you a large wooden desk, intricately carved on both sides, on the panels in front and on the sides. It's heavy, dominates this whole space. This is the desk of a man who dominated every room he ever walked into. Theodore Bradford was a large, imposing man known for being the center of attention. There are large bookshelves lining whole walls of this room. Again, Maisie notices, but I don't believe you ever told the priest, that the carved crests along the
Feeling.
no, not this. Yeah. What's the
Beams.
Rafters.
no? Well, yeah, on that, but more importantly, in the periodically through along the not the baseboards, but the
Oh, okay.
molding.
Molding.
Around the molding.
And I think since the Geraldine and Genevieve are not around at the moment, Maisie would point them out to the priest and just be like, I saw those in the dining room too, and I've never noticed them before, but they seem odd, don't they?
Never noticed them before. Did you live here?
No, I've visited, and Geraldine and I have been friends forever. Deanie and I are really close. So I've been here lots of times, and they've definitely been here, but I just never noticed how, like, off-putting they are. They're a little odd. They're not, that's not like a normal family crest.
And it matches the embossing on the bottle.
That is very strange. Remember the bottles that Mr. Taggart had? Is very, very similar to what he was distributing.
Is there anything else in this room that has that logo on it? Books or...
Do you want to roll me that spot hidden?
Yeah.
Great. That's a giant demon above you.
Oh, I pressed the wrong button, but it was a success.
Looking around, there are a couple carved into the bookshelves. They don't seem to be any books per se. There's a couple cards, almost like business cards, that seem to have that cattle skull with horns widened through it.
Do the business cards have like a company name, or is it just the Bradford
It looks almost.
name?
It's just the.
The logo, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. There isn't any name on it.
Did we ever question Mr. Taggart where he got the shipment from?
Oh, I may have when things happened in the hall, in the saloon. I may have popped into his office briefly and tried to take a look, but all I could find was that the Bradfords ordered them, Mr. Bradford. I didn't get a, and I looked around, but that's all that was there. Yep.
I'm fairly certain I already did an occult roll, like when we found the bottles. I don't know what else I could glean just from the signal itself, other than that, like connects the two together.
What about the title? Since we're looking for a book, it wouldn't be unusual for us to be going through the bookshelves, looking at the books. Are there any that are odd and not like just like the classics?
No, most of them seem to be classics. There are a couple like, obvious business ledgers that are kept on a smaller bookshelf behind the desk. Obviously where the gentleman kept his, heavy ledgers. There are a couple works of fiction. There are a couple works of, apparently the gentleman likes foreign books. There's a couple by Dumas, Cervantes, a large section of Greek literature, some slightly tucked in a corner, but, still easily accessible book of poems by Catullus in the original Latin.
This man had very fine taste. His library is very nice. I wonder if Mrs. Bradford would be willing to donate it.
I mean, maybe if you gave her that help she was asking for earlier. By the way, Mrs. Bradford, as far as I'm aware, is pretty learned herself. I'm not quite sure why she suddenly needs the help of y'all, but I might be watching your pockets and your, I don't know. It's just weird. She's up to she's up to something. She might be asking for more favors than she's letting on.
When someone is in grieving, certain tasks become harder than others. Perhaps she doesn't want to go through her husband's things or take care of his affairs because it will make her upset. It does not seem unreasonable to ask for help when dealing in such matters.
Sure.
At least for me.
I mean, she's got all sorts of people around on the ranch, and my parents, it's, I don't know. I'm just giving you the heads up. You don't take what you will.
I thank you for your concern, Macy.
I mean, you probably can tell that me and Jenny have never really gotten along. So, maybe it's just me.
I understand.
And can Maisie? Maisie is like Snoopy naturally. Can she like sit at the desk while the father's looking at the bookshelves and maybe even kind of run her hands along the bottom and see if there's latches or anything?
I will be a good person and just be looking at the books on the shelf.
You run your hands along. You kind of half open try to pull open a couple of drawers. You realize that the desk is locked, and there are no obvious hidden latches of any kind.
Can I take out a hairpin and see if I can...
Do you have a lock-picking skill?
I don't know. I have a sleight of hand skill.
Wait.
I will...
Wait. You want to know something funny? Hi. I have lockpick. They all don't know that.
Nope. No, they don't. And, we'll come back to you in a minute, Richard.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have the locksmith skill.
No, but you have sleight of hand. I'll say you can try it, but because you don't have a lock, it'll be a hard or better.
Okay.
Ooh, you're very lucky tonight.
I have very good lock picking. Or I have a very good sleight of hand skill.
You do. And as you fiddle with your hairpin, get it just right to pop the lock on that center drawer, you slide it open. Nothing.
Maisie, is it appropriate to be doing such things?
There's a pen.
Doing what kind of things? And she just closes the drawer. Aren't you supposed to know? Hurry up and pick out a book.
Oh,
And
perhaps I will take this one and just pull one off the shelf.
Make a luck roll. There's a hidden door.
No, make a
Jeez.
luck roll. There's no hidden door, but do make a
Damn
luck
it.
roll.
Solid.
You managed to grab one of the treatises by Aristotle on the De Natura in the original Greek.
A classic.
It's gonna put you to sleep real good.
Yep. If it doesn't make you want to throw it across the room. It's one of those two things are going to happen. As we'll pan down and you start to hear footsteps coming down the stairs. Doctor, where are you at the moment?
I believe I'm waiting for a room for Miss Bradford.
As you're waiting in the kitchen, in the dining room, Geraldine comes back in and says, Doctor, why don't you right this way? Let me show you to a room. Genevieve had to lie down for a minute. Maisie, are you coming? Where's father? I wanna show him to a room, and then
We're coming right away. And she hurries the father out of the study, locks it back up, probably puts the key back where it's supposed to go, and wanders over. Is Geraldine upstairs?
No, Geraldine's at the stairs.
at the
Geraldine
stairs.
is at the stairs leading the doctor up. Genevieve is already retired for the evening.
Oh, okay.
She's feeling a mite poorly. Kind of looking at you, Maisie, significantly.
Oh, okay. I got it. Wink. And,
Did the headset fall off?
No, the headset died.
Oh,
okay.
That's why I have a second one.
Okay, and Maisie, like, winks at Geraldine, and then, like, flounces up the stairs ahead of everybody else.
As you go to retire, we cut outside to a bunkhouse where Mr. Whitaker, it's you and really just Mr. Ashton. Oh, and Mr. Bellows, but he's, well, not real personable individual. And Swannon into the room, wrapped in a heavy, dark cloak with a hood, throwing her hood back. And she says, "Gentlemen, I would like your attention, please." And none of you can disobey her at the moment. As you all turn to see Genevieve Bradford. I have a job for you all. Richard, I want you to do a favor. I need you to keep an eye on Maisie and the doctor. Jeff, I want you to keep that scope on the priest and the doctor. River, make sure Geraldine needs to be safe, right, River? Have a good night, gentlemen. I don't want to hear anything about this. This conversation will never be repeated to anyone.
night.
And Richard,
What?
if either of the three of them get out of control, make sure you end it.
And I look at the three other ranch hands, sort of confused.
Not them.
Oh,
Maisie, the doctor, or the priest. keep either Maisie or the doctor alive. But we don't need both if they become too much of a trouble. And remember, you're not saying anything about this to anyone. You won't even really remember we had this conversation.
Just out of curiosity, and that's semi out of game. Since she gave us the order, would it make sense for, let's say, even though we don't remember, like knowing that I might have to kill one of them to bring my weapon along?
Yep.
Like, okay, so I don't know, but would I know why I'm bringing it along?
She's told you to guard them
Okay,
and keep an
good
eye
enough.
on them.
Just wanted to make sure. So, Richard's gonna go to his footlocker, open it up. He's gonna take, because I don't think he was armed when he was working in the kitchen. So he's gonna take his Bowie knife, sheath it in the back of his belt. He's going to pick up his whip, hook it to the right side of his belt. He's going to get put his leather gloves on, get his Winchester out, and 2 tomahawks that he's gonna slip in a belt he has under his poncho, and load his Winchester and just head outside to stare through their windows.
Also, Jeffrey, inform Taggart that I wish to have a conversation with him. And don't be gentle about that informing of him. And she goes to walk back into the house, closing the door behind her, lifting her hood back up over her cloak. As she walks slowly, we just see, well, she gestures to her throat and smiles. Sees you standing there, Richard. Kind of pats you on the back. You're a good boy, Richard. You're well worth my investment in you. And she walks into the house. And that's where we're going to end it for tonight.
Are you sure you just want to just kill me now, or?
I mean, pick your poison, or actually, don't pick the poison. That was probably our biggest mistake.
That was dinner.
And I was going to I wasn't sure if Richard should eat or not, and then I went and did the stupid my stomach growls thing.
How are you all? How we doing?
Well, we're all fucked. I mean, the 3 of them are. I'm going to get up fine.
Not necessarily. Maisie and I seem okay. It's
no one likes the priest.
Yeah, it's
Here's
like,
the thing, though, Doc. She said she only needs one of us, and Maisie's the much more put together one at the moment.
only if we are troublesome. So as long as we keep our ducks in a row, we're good.
Oh, then Maisie's real screwed.
My.
So
I'm
many
so
fun
excited.
things.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm anxious to see where this goes.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for next Saturday when no, June won't be there next Saturday.
Nope.
So
Not unless something changes.
we're all
We're
on our
screwed.
own. We're all on our own. We're screwed.
Doom.
Right.
All right.
I
Well,
intend to do lots of running away.
I mean, maybe I'll get my dream to punch Cthulhu in the face.
As you do his bidding.
Well, now I know what happens when you drink the whiskey. So George would have been in the same boat, y'all. So,
We need George.
half-burnt man in the coma. Yeah, sure.
Yes. Wake him up.
Hey, that was episode, what, 4?
I think
5.
5.
Our 5th week of Pulp Cthulhu. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you, all of you, for playing. And thank you, Deirdre, for being the keeper. That was lots of fun. I had a lot of fun. I hope everyone enjoyed the session in chat. And we'll see you again next week. Let's just do our outros real quick. Who are you? Where can we find you? And we'll start we'll do the opposite order than we introduced ourselves. So let's start with our dear keeper.
Well, hello all. You know me. I'm at Deirdre Donlin on Twitter, or Praxagora Thesmophoria, as you see me hanging out in the Twitch chat. I'm glad everyone's still having fun. We have so many things are going on in Four Corners, New Mexico. It'll be so much fun to see where it all goes. If they get there. But you can find me tomorrow, 12 o'clock Eastern, hanging out with on Katie Face's channel, playing a delightfully chaotic mini campaign of Honey Heist. All I gotta say for this is honey badger in a coat being hung on a coat hook. Just take that image in your mind and go look up the VOD. It is hilarious, and just laugh uproariously. And then tomorrow night over on Soul Bear RPG, I get to play my Fae Bard, and yeah, it'll be fine. We only have a Manticore and a little Lordling to deal with. It'll be fine. And then Monday I'm back here, and Simon's in charge, and different things happen. Like I get 3 levels of exhaustion because I talked to a thing. That happened last week.
That sounds about right.
Talking's exhausting.
Yep.
especially
But
for
it'll be
Richard.
great. And other than that, check out my Twitter. I always post where I'm going to be and what I'm doing. Come find me.
All right. Kelly. We'll go with you.
Hi, I'm Kelly, aka Lane on Twitter. I really enjoyed today. I am excited to see what happens when we all go to sleep next week. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm sure Deirdre has lots of terrible things planned, and I am nothing if not a TTRPG masochist. That's why I'm in a Curse of Strahd campaign. Anyway, that being said, Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. EST, over on Scraticus Academy, I'm in a Curse of Strahd campaign. Right now, we're mid-training montage because we are not leveled up enough to take on Strahd before the end of the season. We're trying to fix that. We are definitely at the point where we need to be stocking up on those re-rolls and everything else, so please come help us. We need it. Real bad. Real bad. We're a disaster party. It's not going to end well.
I'm not going to say anything, but considering things that'll happen or may not happen, you guys here might need that help.
Yes. Yes. Next week is a good week to be assisting us here on the channel. Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. EST, over on the Academy. I also am in Dynama, which is a Weave system game. Actually, it's a play set written by the lovely Renee, the DM of Fate and the Fable Maidens. We have an amazing time on that show. It's just a joy to play. The people are a joy to play with. It's just so much fun. There's a lot of sass. It's really entertaining. And then tomorrow, most importantly, tomorrow at 4 p.m. EST, having to do math because time zones, 4 p.m. EST, I will be over on Otherdoc running a Call of Cthulhu one-shot, set in an unnamed Swedish furniture store, modern day. It'll be a little less spooky, I think, than Deirdre's Call of Cthulhu. It'll be a little bit more goofy. But expect some, like, Scooby-Doo style shenanigans, I imagine. And I saw Wild Engineer in chat earlier. Sam was in chat earlier. Both of them are playing tomorrow. So
Nice.
it's going to be a great time.
I've always suspected the layout of IKEA to be some sort of eldritch, non-Euclidean thing.
I have a map, guys.
Oh, Jesus.
Lovely.
Otherdoc
Awesome.
definitely went to IKEA and took like 400 pictures for me the other day.
Awesome.
Not 400, but like Seriously, there's like 50 photos in my Google Drive. Travis Bowles is our other player. He also went to IKEA to do some research. So
My girlfriend works for IKEA, so I'll ask her to watch it tomorrow. Scott. Your
So
turn.
I am at Berserker Rage on Twitter and Twitch as well. I'm more active on Twitter than Twitch. I'm here on Saturday evenings, so definitely enjoying my time here. It's been a wonderful experience, and our keeper is absolutely wonderful, even if she does have some devilish things in store for us. But I may see what happens next week, and yeah, looking forward to where this story goes.
Thanks. And our last player, Quentin.
Four Corners sucks. Bradford sucks. This Bradford sucks. Turkey sucks. Wine sucks. It's all terrible. No, Deirdre, like one dungeon master to another, like conveying horror and like making me feel like anxious and scared and all sorts of stuff. Like it is super hard to do, but you do it. It seems so easily to me anyway. And it's just like
It's a legal right.
thank
And
you very much. And anyway, yeah, you can find me here, scared out of my wits. This time on Saturdays. I'm at Fragging on Twitter. I don't tweet a lot. I just like retweet all of everybody else's stuff. So yeah, do that.
All right, and I'm Simon at OneRingLiam. This is my channel. Hi, everyone. You probably know the schedule by now, but if you don't, you'll see it in the credits later. We are nearing the middle of this season, so keep an eye out for teasers for the shows that will be coming up next season. Some of the ones that we're playing right now are going to be renewed for a second season. Others won't, but there will be new shows, new casts, new everything for a lot of them. So much so that right now I have to trim them down because I'd be streaming twice a day, 7 days a week. And I can't have that. So we'll see what happens, but keep an eye out in the coming week or so. I'll post a couple of new things. Otherwise, I hope you had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun, and I will see you tomorrow on Soul Bear RPG, where I play Kadern in the same game that Deirdre is in, and my character is super hot. We're going to go raid my good friend Grant Ellis, who's playing his game of Unrestful Hearts in the Garden of Glory over on Encounter RPG, Encounter Roleplay, blah, because every other channel that I have on my list is offline right now. So if you want to go say hi to Grant, hi to his wonderful cast of players, they're all very, very good people, good players, and good role players. If you want to have a good time, we'll go over to Encounter Roleplay. Otherwise, I'll see you again next week here in Four Corners, New Mexico. Bye, everyone.